Welcome back to the A to Z Film Room channel. Today we have an awesome interview with David Oke. We're going to break down and talk about his expectations for this upcoming season, potential as a draft prospect. But David, I want to jump in and talk a little bit about your life off the field, because I found as I was doing some research on you, you have a clothing brand that you've been building up, that you have been working on for the past few years. Can you first just tell us, like, what are your goals with that, and how did that come to be?
Yeah, how it came to be for sure was definitely during that COVID-19 pandemic era. You know, I wanted to be able to do some things at home because being bored at home is the worst thing to possibly be at. So I started getting to designing, and I know at the time coming into the States from Nigeria, my mom would always tell me just be myself and just express myself. So I started designing things of how it made me feel. So when I started doing those things, when we got back to hybrid version of school, my friends would be like, "Man, where'd you get that shirt from?" Like, man, I just designed it. Like, you know what? Let me buy one. And at the time, it wasn't a company. So like, you know what? Let me get an LLC and get this rolling. But my plan for the future is when, hopefully, God willing, when I get to the league, I want to use my platform for kids that come into the country or even kids that growing up to just be themselves around people that, authentic self is always the best self.
David, I wanted to ask, because you mentioned it there already, but me and Joe were talking about it the other day because he was doing like a little bit deeper research. I was mostly doing like the football research, and he started seeing about, your family's from Nigeria and you came over. And I would love to hear like maybe your first early impressions of football. Like, when did you start playing, and when did maybe that become a love for you?
I'll say I started playing. It was my knowledge of football is soccer. So I get to the country, and my friend at the time, freshman year, was like, "Man, just try for football." At the time, they already picked their team because, summer workouts, they use the time to pick A or B team or who's in the varsity. So fifth period, my coach is like, "You know what, just come over, check it out. We'll see how we do." And they put me in the B team, and I ball out, because my knowledge is just, I see everybody run after the quarterback and the guy with the ball. I would just do that. So I got film from my huddle days in freshman. It's just ripping and running through the O-line with no effort at all. Honestly, I'm still learning. I still didn't start perfecting my hand use till I got to college, but at the time it was just raw talent. And I've grown to love the game of football because it connects with a lot of like-minded people.
So on that note, it's a hard sport to learn. It's such a complicated sport that's got so many moving pieces. What was like the hardest and most confusing thing for you to like wrap your head around? What was that one thing about football that took you the most to figure out?
Honestly, probably just when you get a new defensive coordinator and you get a new playbook and whatnot, that's just a adjustment. The football is all about effort. It's like 99% effort and just 1% learn like where to be at the right time and playbook. But most of the things that just maybe came to me as a difficulty, but it really wasn't difficult. It was just learning a new playbook. And if you give it your all and your time and effort, it shouldn't be really hard to do so.
So I would recommend for anybody that can get their hands on some Abilene Christian film from this past season. I mean, David, you were fantastic this past year. Obviously, you started with Texas Tech game, and I think that put your kind of name on the map a little bit. I mean, you were hard for those. But I saw at one point the Texas Tech offensive linemen were kind of trying to jaw with you a little bit. You were frustrated a little bit. You were jawing back a little bit, which was so much fun. So my question, though, is, so you're pretty still new to the game of football. You still are able to go Division I, go FCS to Abilene Christian. When did an understanding develop for you as far as like, hey, I might be able to take this up a notch again, right? Like FBS football, playing in the SEC now with Arkansas. I would just love to hear about that process of understanding, hey, I can play on that highest level, and then ultimately how you got to Arkansas as well.
So prior to the end of the season, there's a lot of jarring and whatnot. Like, oh man, this had a great, phenomenal season. And to me, honestly, I feel like I let a lot of things on the plate, a lot of sacks that I could, things that I could get a lot better with. So to my knowledge, it was just me being able to, seek out a bigger level of competition. Not saying that FCS, honestly, the FCS team and the teams that are in FCS are really, really like competitive, like, because, they have to work harder and, they wanted more. And I mean, every school wanted more. But I'll say that when I figured out that I wanted to, move up and take a notch, I honestly didn't know that I would get recruited as much as I did at the portal. I was just taking a risk of faith and praying about it. I remember the day I entered the portal, Texas Tech was my first offer. Obviously it kind of makes sense why it was. And then it just started. Arkansas was probably my fourth or fifth. And I was appalled because, I was like, man, I thought I could have did a lot better, which is, to me, I feel like it's good thinking. And, I'm hearing all these things about PFF and all these knowledge about what I did in the last season. Since I've got here, it's been like definitely a good challenge for me, and I've taken it up, and I've ran with it, and I'm excited to see how the season goes.
What was the reason for Arkansas, and what made you pick them?
The business side of it. Honestly, I think a lot about life after football, because then again, I didn't grow up, playing football, so my life has always been like, just knowing, take care of the family. I'm in the sales. I love talking to people, and I want to be able to network with a lot of individuals. So for me, I definitely know that what made me, when I got here, I had the opportunity to talk with some high CEOs and whatnot in the Bentonville area, which is where Walmart, JB Hunt, and whatnot, started at. So I got the opportunity to talk to that. I want to further out my brand, and I want to be able to build firms after football. One thing is that I want to take care of my family, key point. And I don't want to. Football is not my identity. It's just a platform that I can use to provide for people.
Well, you're in the fortunate situation where you have a chance to play football for a long time now, obviously, right? And have the opportunity to play on the professional level. I don't know if you've seen it, David, but Dane Brugler, the Athletic, who's a great draft analyst, he has you as number 3 ranked defensive tackle in the entire 2026 class. You are a top 5 player for me when we recently did our show. So a lot of high NFL grades out there for you from the spring as well. So the NFL thinks very highly of you. Just kind of thinking about that, I guess, does it create any pressure on you knowing that now you are kind of thought of potentially as that guy making a transition to a new school? And just how much of a blessing is it to have the platform that you have the opportunities, and to potentially play professional football for a very long time?
I know it's a huge blessing, because a lot of prayers that gone into this moment. I didn't know how the journey was going to be, but God put me on this journey. The pressure, I give all glory to God, because like that pressure is what makes me a better player. Definitely coming from ACU here, and that pressure is like, I didn't even know that I was being set out afterwards. I started getting a lot of DMs from NFL agents and whatnot. I thought it was just normal for like last year's seniors to get that, and I'm getting like all these calls, and I'm like, obviously I always make sure I talk to my mom, because she's a key, she's somebody I talk to, and my girlfriend. But I definitely know that going into the season, I just have to, I actually thought about this, the pressure, there is pressure, but if I can just copy and paste this last season, even work on my pass rush, which is something I love playing the run. That's why I know I can be able to beat the run, be any guy in front of me, and that's why I pride on, especially slants and getting across somebody's face. But I can fine-tune my pass rush. I know that definitely I can have put together a good campaign to be able to let the people that have put me at a high spot in the draft, the D tackle, prove myself right, that I can be able to play.
My last question, David, and you just mentioned you want to work on your pass rush, and you want to emphasize that. What's your favorite go-to move as a pass rusher, and what is maybe like a move that you're trying to add to the arsenal that we should be on the lookout for?
I'll say my go-to move is definitely putting that rip in and taking it out at the same time, because I've like Abilene Christian. I was spamming that a lot in spring ball and fall camp. I didn't bring it out a lot in the season, but I did a lot of hand fighting. But I want to perfect my recognition from run to pass quickly, playing the run fist and going to pass. The thing that I'm definitely going to add that people on the lookout for is going from stabbing to a forklift and then countering back on the other hand with a forklift inside if the guy bites in. So I'm perfecting that with a cross jump, with the same thing of countering back, and just getting better at my get off to a hump move.
Love it. My last question for you, David, is just this transition that you have made to Arkansas now. I know you haven't played a game yet, but you're playing against SEC players each and every day of practice. How smoothly was that transition for you? Because I know you're on I think it's one of those underrated defensive lines in the SEC coming back this year with Cameron and yourself and a lot of talent up there. but just how have you been acclimating to that SEC speed, the size, and being able to compete on a day-to-day perspective?
Well, it's definitely speed. I am right, if not even at the top of the corn with the cream of the speed, because I've kept my speed. When I gain weight, I don't sacrifice my athleticism for that at all. The speed of the game is a lot faster, because we're moving. There's a lot of moving parts. But if you understand the playbook and go deep into your playbook, it slows down the game for you, and then you can read out when it's almost like reading where a running back is and knowing that the old lineman is gonna move this way or move the other way, and knowing where the tight end and whatnot. So my transition in here hasn't been too bad. Coaches have been a great addition. They've helped me out, and also me up, taking my time as well to also understand the game, because if I do want to go far with this, I have to respect the game.
Well, David, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today, and we're really excited to see what you're going to be able to do at Arkansas. Best of luck this year, and if there's anything that you'd like to promote here in terms of your clothing brand, let everybody know where they can find it.
Oh, yes, sir. My clothing brand is JDY Apparels, JDY Apparels, Instagram, and I hope you have a wonderful day.